Holy folly, you are God living in her own dream. Welcome to A Mystic's Journal. You can call me Agape from Love Has One Mystery School. And in these videos, I share insights and updates that I enjoy sharing and that you might find useful as well. So the first thing to share in this particular video is, as you probably are well aware, life here on Earth, especially when you're a pure channel of love, it attracts a lot of attack from egos. Okay, and you might be wondering what's the best way to counteract these attacks. Well, this is what martial arts actually can teach you. In some versions of martial arts, like Wing Chun, each move is attack and defense at the same time. So they're not separate. All in one move, you defend the other person's attack and you attack them at the same time. Now, energetically, this means that when you embody and express truth, then this is defense and attack at the same time. So when an ego is attacking you, truth doesn't actually need defending, but energetically in this energetic battle with the ego, it acts like a defense and attack at the same time, because the ego is based on lies, on illusions. So when you express and embody truth, you basically expose the ego and its lies. And so that's the attack element of embodying and expressing truth. Now, in terms of defense, truth is the ultimate defense. Why? Because you cannot argue with truth. Truth is truth. And although the ego may try to attack it, you cannot attack truth. Truth is truth no matter how much you attack it or not. Okay? So by embodying and expressing truth, that is both defense and attack at the same time. Now, next thing to share is that very often, I've personally experienced it, that when people see you advance in something or excelling in something, other people's usual response is they feel threatened. They feel in competition with you. And so they may want to bring you down so they feel better about themselves. And this is very true within the spiritual field as well. So when you're advancing and excelling and thriving with your spiritual progress, it really exposes those in the spiritual field that aren't. And so they immediately feel like you're a threat. You're in competition with them. And so they immediately try to bring you down, even within the spiritual field, because egos still exist within pretty much everyone within the spiritual field. And so they attack out of jealousy, out of competition. However, there's an alternative way to respond, and that's to be inspired by someone who is thriving and excelling in something. But this requires an element of ego dropping. So if you see someone really thriving in some way, perhaps with their spiritual progress, you can learn from them, you can be inspired from them, and then turn towards yourself and be proactive within yourself. In that way, you're using someone else's example and being inspired by them to further yourself so that you can also thrive. Now, that's the alternative way of responding to someone excelling in some way, but it requires you to drop your ego somewhat in order to be inspired. If you don't drop your ego, your response will be competition with the other person. And the final thing to share is I want to ask you a question. How often do you smile just for yourself? When you're with yourself, just alone, do you really smile? Even when you're feeling joyful, even when you're happy, do you really smile when you're on your own? Therefore, smiling is not really something you do out of an expression of joy. It's something you'll find that you actually do for other people. Okay, you might want to, I don't know, not seem, confrontational or rude in some way. So you might smile. Or in actual fact, when you're alone, you don't really smile. But that doesn't mean you're not happy. It doesn't mean you're not joyful. It just means there's no reason to smile. So actually, a lot of our smiling is done for other people. Now, you might laugh when you're on your own. I certainly do. But do you smile? This is an interesting question. It's important to become aware of what kind of things that we do, even if on the face of it, it looks all nice and flowery. What things do we do actually for other people? And what naturally do we actually want to do instead? So thank you for watching. That's it for today. If you have any questions or comments you'd like me to respond to, please give a comment below this video. Until next time, yours joygasmically, Agape.